Trustee Melissa Agosta.
Here.
Trustee William Lawler.
Here.
Trustee Craig Mazenek.
Here.
Trustee Tara Misner is excused. Trustee Doreen Popa.
Present.
Trustee Jeff Wood.
Here.
Trustee Ramesh Verma here. Student Representative Ravina Joshi.
They're absent excused today.
Student Representative Lihari Vabilala.
Very good. Thank you. Would everyone please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening. We have a pretty full agenda, as you've all seen. So we'll just start on point number 5, I think, which is where we are, the consent agenda. Well, let's go back to the approval and overview of the agenda, point 4. Any comments, questions, or changes on the agenda itself?
Move acceptance as submitted.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving right along to the consent agenda, there are 2 parts to it. The first is the approval of claims and warrants for L553, and the second is the approval of the March 23rd meeting minutes from the library board. Any comments or questions on either of those? Yes, sir.
I did have one question. These payables, I've learned what many of them mean, but there's one fairly large one that I don't understand. CDW government. They pay Intel, Nook, VMware, View, and maybe one other one. What was that?
So that is a company we work with to get some of our equipment, technology equipment. And there's always larger purchases in March because that was our fiscal to start when we were building the new building. So that's a lot of technology equipment being purchased at this time.
Good question. Yes, ma'am.
I have a correction on the minutes on page 9, at the top of the page. I do believe trustee Farkas is incorrect.
Happy to go by direct.
And I do not know who requested the 2 additions. It's a she, but I don't know whose name should be there.
I think that refers to,
Additions to the agenda.
2
Julie.
items that we want.
Yeah.
Items.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Not,
yep.
Me.
I'll correct
so
that.
Julie, is she
Yes,
requested
yes.
items to be added to the agenda?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
other than that change, any other comments, corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Yes, so moved with correction.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Good. Correspondence, I don't believe we have any.
We do not.
Okay, that's good. But we do have a presentation and special guest.
Yes, we do. So I would like, first of all, to draw your attention to page 18. This was a congratulatory email that was received by the library, actually through Lindsay Fricke, who is our teen librarian, which noted that our teen advisory group and our teens won a contest in creating a video for the summer reading program. At this time, I'd like to welcome Lindsay up to the podium, and she's going to give you some more information and also introduce her group to you.
So hi there, everybody. Thanks again for letting me come this evening to speak. So I just want to tell you a little bit of background about that video. It is a national competition. We did submit on behalf of Michigan. It's a part of the collaborative summer reading program that the state of Michigan as well as the Novi Public Library partakes in. It's their 7th year doing this competition. It is our first time applying for this video on behalf of Novi, so we're super excited. And I do have some of the people with me that were partaking in this video. So girls, if you want to come up and just introduce yourself and tell them what your part in was the video.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a senior this year. This is my 3rd year on tab, and this year I'm the VP. My role in the video, I spoke for a couple seconds. been on TAB this is my second year, and I also had a speaking part in the video. Hello, I'm Maya. This is my first year on TAB, and I helped with the initial planning and concept of the video. Hi, my name is Madison Bates. It's my second year on TAB, and I'm the activities director, and I filmed and edited the video.
My name is Brooklyn Bates. This is my first year at TAB, and I talked about the events at the library in the video.
Okay, so our TAB is a part, we have a bigger group than the ones who are here, so we do want to congratulate everybody in TAB for their hard work, because we had a lot of the members meet with me and come up with the script and the way it was going to be planned. And a big thank you to Madison, especially because she had the software that we don't at the library, so we were able to actually film it and edit it. Thank you to her video skills. So I do want to go ahead and show you. I'm going to put the attention onto the screen right now for the video.
Hey, how's it going? I'm awesome. Have you heard about the summer reading program? Yeah, it's a program for all teens. All teens? Yeah, and there's gonna be many programs and prizes. I'm excited. Wow, this seems great. Yeah, it's at your local library. Wow, local library? Yeah.
This is how we help build a better world.
Some ways of building a better world include making cards for local hospitals.
Another way to give back to your community is to plant flowers and pick up trash. Another way to give back to your community is by recycling.
Another way to give back to your community is by becoming a teen volunteer or joining Friends of the Library.
These are some books that inspire us.
This book inspires me to be courageous and to believe.
This book inspires me to get educated.
This book inspired me because I gained a new perspective on my family's cultural background. This book inspires me because the characters are so unique and courageous.
Don't forget to check your library's website for their program calendar.
Build a better world!
So that's the video. They do have a time constraint, so it has to be like right around 90 seconds or less. So that's why, as you see, it was just a very short video. Oops, let me pause this so you're not watching something else. Anyways, thank you again. I'm really proud of the TAB group and all the members for their hard work on this video. We're excited, and that it's going to be shown on a national level as well, and we're excited to be promoting it on our website and other Facebook media, social media outlets. Thank you.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank
to
you.
all of you.
Thank you.
Trustee
How did you choose what you were going to say? How did you choose the frame for the video? Choosing your favorite books and, what?
So there is some criteria that they want you to follow when you submit the video. When I was speaking with a lot of the members on TAB, I know that we talk about program planning and as well as books that they really like. So I thought a good part of it would be not only talking about how you can give back to the community, but just recommending books, since they all talk amongst themselves and want to share what they're reading as well as what I'm reading, that's teen literature as well. And so we wanted to share that so that other teens who are watching this video might be inspired to read some of the things that they are as well. And then we did have the whole group sit down and kind of correlate with me as far as the actual layout of the video, and then with some recommendations from Madison, what would be best to put together in what parts of the video.
Was Build a Better World the theme, or did you choose that?
Build a Better World is the summer reading theme for 2017. So our library, as well as other libraries in Michigan, are a part of a collaborative summer learning program, and that's the theme that we follow for that, for 2017.
Impressive.
Thank you.
Did you have fun working on it? Good answer. No, but that's good, because I know it might be 90 seconds long, but there's a whole lot of time that goes into making something like that. So, again, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
And may you all be budding video stars.
Trustee Meserneck, if I could just take a moment, I would like to thank Lindsay Fricke for her leadership on this. You have some information in your packet today that shows some statistics, and it shows a little bit about teens and the usage of teens. Since Lindsay has been on board, she really has championed some amazing programs and relationships for our teen department. So Lindsay, I want to thank you for truly, working well with these amazing students and building our teen audience, and that has been because of your direction and your leadership. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, we have come to the first of two opportunities for public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect a 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session, therefore, library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. Seeing no one coming forward to the podium, we will move on to student representative reports.
So we don't have any representatives here with us this evening. They did have some conflicts, and one of them is, I believe, out of town. But I know you have the information in front of you. I'd love to answer any questions if I can. The ladies provided some wonderful photos, especially on page 16 and 17, of some of the programs that have happened over the last month. And then, as you can see, there is the follow-up letter and press release about the video and the congratulations from the Library of Michigan and Kathy Lancaster. I think these teens have been doing some wonderful programming, as you can see from the numbers and attendance that's going on. And then we're looking forward to, in May, they have a Cinco de Mayo celebration coming up, a study skills survival guide with Sylvan Learning, another teen advisory board meeting in May, which I know they're getting close to their end of year, and then they have board games at the library coming up. So just some more fantastic stuff, and again, they're also working towards summer reading and getting that in place. As you all know, we typically see about close to 100 volunteers, teams, that come out and help every year with our summer reading program, and I know that Lindsay is getting ready for all of that preparation and starting to have those meetings and getting the kids ready for those bigger programs.
Do all libraries have a teen board like this and teen activities, or is this pretty special to Novi?
No, it's become very popular among public libraries to have that those representatives from the teen community.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Julie on the teen reports? Okay, if not, we will move on to 10, President's Report. Let's start with the, Julie, if we can, the goals update. As you may recall, we decided that we wanted to do a little more quarterly as opposed to monthly. So this is the quarter end.
You'll see lots of red.
We've got a real nice update. So there's
Lots of updates, lots of information. I'm happy to address any questions that you might have about what's been going on since the last time we reported, which has been a couple months now, a few months actually. But a lot of great information and lots of things going on.
Yes.
I read, for example, on page 21, that you visited another library to see how librarians do their evening story times. And I have a question. What did you learn? And then further down that same patch, you attended demos, and I said, so what are the results? And so what this does is list a lot of activities, but the outcome of the activities are missing for me. Not that I'm asking you to clutter this with more information.
Sure.
But, you could visit another library, and so that's nice. So what happened as a result of that visit?
No,
And
that's-
what happened after you attended these demos?
That's a great question. In terms of that particular visit, I wouldn't be able to answer that, but what I can do is I can get some feedback and encourage maybe just a little notation of something.
I'm not asking for a lot of words.
Exactly. But I'd be happy to do that.
Focus more on the outcome as
Okay.
opposed to just the doing.
Very good. Or what was their purpose for visiting? Did they have an actual motive for the visit?
In mind that you were looking for.
Sure, Absolutely, I can
And there
definitely.
are several others, but that page happened to have two on it.
Okay, and then in terms of, just to give you a little bit of an idea, you know, we've talked a little bit about TLN and how they're looking at going to a new catalog, public catalog, and working with potentially a different vendor and company. So that's all being held through the library network at this point. There has not been a decision made. In fact, next week, May 2nd, I am attending a meeting to make a final vote and for there to be some direction as to which company might be chosen through TLN.
That'll be a big decision.
Yes, it will be.
Depending on which way it goes, is there going to be additional cost for us?
I don't know yet. I haven't had all the final figures brought to the directors. It's the actual directors meeting, which is next week. So we will have that sense and idea before voting is happening.
I think overall, as I read this, I'm just so aware of outreach, of ways of searching to become better and more service-oriented for patrons. But the outreach into the community with creative ways of approaching it, it's kind of like saying, what's the little, nugget that will get more people involved in the library is, I think, a theme that I kept reading all the way through here, and I commend you for that.
Have we connected with the new preschool?
We have, in fact, we had an opportunity to have a table. Unfortunately, it ended up being the day that we lost the power, and we were dealing with our power outage. But since then, they have come on as a sponsor for summer reading. Yes, and we have also attended last week their grand opening. So we had a presence from the library there.
Excellent.
How was on page 34, on April 19th, hosted the author, et cetera, et cetera? Can you just give a few words on how that went?
So it wasn't as well attended as we had hoped. We had set up, you're talking for the author event for
Yeah.
Nell Duke. We had hoped for a larger group because obviously parents and families and gearing it towards that. It was a heavily downpoured rainstorm that evening, which could have, kept people from coming out. I just had a conversation with the school. We did so much marketing on it. It went out to schools, it went in the papers. In fact, I want to thank actually the school district because they helped us with lots of marketing. I wish it would have been, there would have been more people in attendance, but we did have 26, but it would have been great if it would have been more. I know sometimes one of the things that we heard is it might be because it is during the weeknight and it's in the evening, just getting home from work and coordinating children. And this was for parents of young children. So there might be an opportunity, which we've thought about, is maybe a weekend and even offering an opportunity for some kind of care so that the child could come and the parent could engage, but also there's something there for the child to also do as well. So that is something to look at in the future.
Is there a way to have it on the web?
It was on the web.
No, the actual, the author being
Oh,
there.
being live? I don't know what the school's capabilities are, but I can find out for future.
I just thought, people who maybe can't go can
Right.
sit and
They're
watch
capable.
it from their living room.
They are virtual.
So
So like a webcast of it.
So that's all things that you're doing. Now, who does all of these homeowner association meetings?
It's shared, actually, through the management team and with our communications coordinator. So there's a number of people based
There's a
on,
huge number of evening meetings and just the
we
large
tend,
number of them.
absolutely, which we're glad. But we tend to schedule it, so there's always a manager in the building in the evenings, and depending on when the date of the homeowners association meeting occurs, we try to fit it in that way. So it's not an additional person coming in. Yep.
Anything else as far as the goals and the updated comments?
Commendable. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to make this place work. And so quarterly, we get a chance to kind of like sneak in and see some of the background work that makes that happen. So, and I like the quarterly part, so we can really delve into it when it comes. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, and thank you also for your comments. I'll make sure that, the staff does hear from me about them, because they are the ones, everyone on the staff is somehow involved in something going on with these goals.
Good. Well, talking about goals, the next point, 10B, the library board goal-setting session is set up for Saturday, May 6th at 10 o'clock till noon in the Novi Library boardroom. I trust everyone will be able to make it. Certainly helps out a lot. Anything else we need to say on that other than please show up?
Please show up, please maybe come with ideas.
Come
I
with
will definitely
ideas.
have, I'll have a set of the goals in front of you so that you have those as well as the packet, just so you have something for when you come that day. But just, some ideas or thoughts, or we don't know, maybe it is something that's going on currently that we will continue to move forward with, but come with an open mind.
Good, look forward to it. 10C, election of officers. I think all of you have a sheet that Trustee Verma gave out with the results of the work he did from the last meeting. Is there any comments or objections to what you see there?
Do you need somehow an approval for the proposed slate of officers from someone who is not on the slate?
We probably will need that, yes. I thought I would ask for comments or objections first.
Congratulations for those who have willingly stepped forward to do this.
Absolutely.
Great.
Well, hearing no objections or complaints, I would
I
accept
so
the
move
motion.
that the proposed slate of officers for 2017-2018 as proposed be accepted.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving right along, thank you all very much.
Thank you for your service.
Treasurer's report.
Okay.
This is always the part we look forward to.
I do too, instead of today.
Yeah, the numbers are good.
Well, there was a mistake that I caught, and it was $1 million number, and I had a heart attack at 6 o'clock. But it all worked out. Okay, all right.
If you would tell us what page, it would be
I
helpful.
will, yes. On pages 37 and 38, I'm going to start there. Under the first green column, 2016-2017 approved budget. Approved budget for Fund 268 for fiscal year 2016-17 calls for revenue of $2,774,726 and expenditures of $3,035,900, consuming $261,174 of the fund balance. Just a little comment, the second green column that says 2016-17 year end, that is an estimate that Julie said that she had to provide to the city, so that's just kind of a guesstimate of where she believes we're going to be, so that's just what that means. The orange column is the approved budget for 2017-18 on page 37 there, just so you know. Okay, so the revenue and expenditure report for fiscal year 2016-17. Actually, it's in the handout that Julie gave us, the big long one right here. This is the revised current numbers. The one that was in the book was slightly incorrect. So these are the numbers that I'm going to read off of. It's under year-to-date balance, under total revenue. These are a little bit different than the numbers from the other thing, so my numbers may be off slightly. But, okay, so total revenue as of March 31st is $2,776,435.43. Total expenditures is $1,990,371.55. The revenue actually decreased approximately $20,000, in the expenditures increased $258,744. So we are 75% through our budget year, and we still have currently approximately 35% of our budget available. So if no unforeseen expenditures should occur, we should be on track not to use any of our fund balance.
Great.
Is that an incorrect number, the last column, percent budget use?
Yes, don't use those.
Don't, okay.
Yes, please disregard that. That's why I give my own numbers of 75 and 35, yeah.
So, question for you. The information on pages 49, 50, and 51 and 52.
Yeah, so on page, all right, on page 52,
Yeah.
if you look on the second to the last column, it says revenue is $2,728,000, but expenditures is only $900,000. That should be $1,900,000. That was my big 911 today. They missed a number.
Where'd the $1 million go?
Yeah, just $1 million. That was it.
And the reason why assuming that one is put back in there, the reason those are different from these numbers is that timing?
Correct.
Julie
So we were looking at
reran
it
the-
as of today and that, when the report's run.
Yeah,
so-
this report in the book was probably run a few days ago. When Julie ran it today, it was
Last week.
almost, these numbers are like almost to the, so that's why they're a little bit different than what I initially
We
did.
just wanted to make sure you had a better number to work with today.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right.
And if I can just clarify, it's not an error from the city. When there was a question from the board a few months back that the report was getting difficult to read at some points, so we've had to take that report and then move it in. So that was a transparency on our end. So it is in our office, in the admin office, that mistake occurred.
Yeah,
So I just don't want the city,
Yeah, yeah, so it's not a city problem.
It's not.
It's just the numbers that are presented to the board mistake. Okay, any more questions before I move forward for Fund 269?
A lot of numbers.
Yeah, a lot of numbers. All right, Fund Balance 269, which is on the bottom of 53. It's, you see Fund 269, library contribution, total revenue, not the bottom set of numbers. It's, total revenue to date is $15,855.86. Total expenditures are $7,865.71. So you can see we have a net of $7,990.15. All right, the balance sheet, which is on page 54 and 55. So the fund balance for Fund 268 for end of March is $2,552,372.86. And the fund balance for Fund 269 at the end of March is $1,679,802.77. Julie put in here on the, what page, going back a little bit, on page 42, 43, 44, and 45, and Julie was explaining a little bit about what all those are.
So this is the budget summary that comes out from the city. I just wanted you to see their numbers and how they're reflecting from your budget meetings, what we proposed, and how they're putting that into the budget document that will go to council for approval in May. So I just wanted to provide you some background information on that.
So you can see on page 42, is everyone there? If you look on the very first column that says actual 2015, 2016, you go all the way down, you can see it showing us a positive of $35,686. So last year you can see, that we had a positive, and then you can see how I first reported that we're estimating to use 261,000. And then next year, we're gonna, we're estimating 189. So you can just kind of see, those are the same numbers that I report every month. And that's what's going to city council.
They don't show all the detail, obviously, they just use the larger categories.
Any questions?
It's very nicely presented. I mean, it's presented in a pretty way. But then there are so many numbers here. I just wonder how the city council is going to have time necessarily to study some of these pages and pages. They get these from every department on the city?
Yeah, this is the budget document, so they have plenty of time that they get to review. Plus, they've
Okay.
also had budget sessions leading
Yes,
up to
that's
final
true.
approval.
That's true.
Yes,
And there's no question they're going to approve our budget.
I haven't heard otherwise.
Are you going to talk about page 41?
Did I miss that?
Well, maybe I missed it. That's the,
That's the revenue and expenditures?
no, the proposed 269, 17, 18 numbers?
I didn't, is that something we were going to talk about, the budget for
This is the draft that I said I would bring to you this
Yeah, I
time
did.
to be looked at.
I didn't know if you wanted to make any comments on it now, or,
We can, I'm open to that. It is for board action, but if you'd like to have some
oh, we can
conversation,
wait,
sure.
we can wait till,
Whatever you.
we can wait,
Yep.
that's fine. Anything else for our treasurer?
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Director's report, I believe, is next.
Okay, so just a few things to highlight on page 56. One is, I just wanted to let you know that I had a follow-up conversation with Jeff Muck, who is the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, and plans have been approved by City Council, and they're moving along with the new renovations that will occur at Lakeshore Park. So at this point, the time frame to let you know will probably be the end of next year, June-ish timeframe, for when we would need to be ready for the lending library. And obviously, that's way into the future, but at least that gives you time frame. So for me, we can plan that we will probably be expending some money specifically for the lending library by the end of next year and planning. And I had an introductory meeting with Marianne Zermulin, who's the head of support services, to let her know that by fall, we should start thinking about the planning of it and how we're going to move forward. But just to give you a better time frame.
The city has a design firm to design it,
Yes, all that has been approved and they've been working with them.
so we have to fill in what we want to do it, we have to tell the designer.
I already gave
To
that
the designer?
information.
Thanks.
Yep, and a space has been earmarked in an enclosed vestibule area that we recommended so that that machine could be in there. Electrical and everything, all the needs for it. Yes, were given to them. Okay. And then also what I provided, and it's for a few pages 57 through 66, I had the opportunity, the city manager, Peter Auger, has been having our leadership group, which is all the department heads, provide some statistics on the departments that they had. So I had the opportunity this past week to give a presentation on, how the library has been doing over the last few years. And so these are some statistics that have been compiled through the city based on information that I provide to them. So I just wanted to give you the same information that I gave and talked about at that meeting. As you can see, numbers have steadily increased. It's been very positive, the usage of the library and participants of programs, volunteers. So I just wanted you to have this information as well so that you could see a snapshot of from 2010 till about through 2015.
Number page 57, fiscal year 14-15, and then we have other circulation. What is that other circulation?
So they separated out specifically, and that's based on what the city needed for some governmental statistics. Children's materials specifically and how they circulate versus all the other types of materials that we have in the library. So it's only separated out by children's and then the other.
So on 59, the number of programs appears like it's the lowest it's ever been,
So
or maybe not, or at least the,
these are the number of programs offered, yes. We have scaled back. You can actually see since, that is 13, 14, we have started scaling back a little bit on the types of programs. We're trying, we don't want to, the word I want to use is repeat or have the same crossover from like Parks and Rec and things like that. And we've been able to identify some of the things that might have been similar. So we're trying to offer library type programming that won't be like yoga and things like that, where we're in competition with the city. So we've made those types of changes over the last few years. So we've seen those numbers go down a little bit in terms of the type.
I'm surprised with that going down and the attendance has increased.
Yeah. Well, you figure out what's working and then you target, I think, better, and then you get a better participation.
Makes sense.
Something. Yep. So I just wanted to provide you that information. Following on page 67, I wanted to introduce you to some staff. I know last month we invited Jessie to be here, and unfortunately she couldn't. And then I thought, well, we've had a lot of new staff from our information services department specifically. These are librarians that have come in over the last couple months. So here are some new faces that have joined our crew, and they have some great ideas, and I'm looking forward to them really growing in their positions. Sarah is an adult librarian. She's going to be working with our 3D printer committee and taking on some of those tasks. She replaced Erin, who was a part-time librarian, left us for a full-time job. So this is a part-time position that we had that we're filling. Hillary is a Novi resident, which is great, and she's now our 22-hour business librarian. She replaced someone who ended up taking a job closer to home because she was traveling in, someone part-time. So we're excited to work with Hillary and have her bring on some new business ideas and connecting. We have a new chamber director that's going to be starting. Hillary will be meeting her, and Hillary has also already been introduced to the economic development and communications people here at the city. We've done a business blender, and so Hillary's getting to know those key people as well. Julie has come on as a youth librarian. She is full of energy and lots of ideas, so I'm excited to see some of the things that she'll be doing for us. And Jessie actually was a part-time librarian, moved into and had the opportunity to move into a full-time position with us. And she heads up some of our book discussions and outreach, and also does our fiction ordering. So she's got some great background and expertise as well. So I'm very excited to be introducing them to you. Following along are reports from my department heads. So you can see information from the IT department and Barbara Kowski. I had her include, she had the opportunity to go to an IT conference, Computers and Libraries it's called. We try to send her every other year. And as you can see from her report, she's provided a lot of cool information and some information about what's happening with, the different types of technology in libraries. Then we have our facilities department information by Keith Perfect. And following along on page 77 is April Stevenson and her information on information services. As you can see, we have on page 78, 220 children are registered for our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. And then following that is a report by Marianne Zermulin, who's the head of support services. There are two things I wanted to point out in her report. on page 78, and that is, they're highlighted, the hotspot checkouts. So this has been very popular at the library. I wanted to show you the circulation and those numbers since we introduced that new technology and that new service to the library. And then following is the STEAM kit checkouts. This actually was instituted by Sarah O'Brien. She's a librarian, and these are STEAM kits. So these are, this is science, technology, mathematics, all different theme type kits that are checking out from the library. And honestly, they're hardly ever on the shelf. They are checking out, and they're quite popular. So I wanted to just let you know how those have been going since they've been introduced. And with Sarah, that's only been introduced since March. So
what kinds of things would be in a STEAM kit?
So an opportunity to build a robot, maybe do with circuitry, all different types of hands-on type things that the kids can tinker with, having to do with science, technology.
Economics,
yes,
art, mathematics.
Mathematics. So
Thank you.
very cool. If you get a chance, they're on the first floor as you come through the library into the youth area. They're right out front. Unfortunately, the bags are hardly ever there for you to actually look at, but there's a book there that shows you all the different themed kits that we have so that the kids can look at them and see, what they might be wanting to try through the library, and we have over 30 of them available.
And
this
so
is very popular.
All the pieces come back?
Yes, we check them. They get checked in, they get looked at. We hope the pieces are coming back, but it is part of the process. And, we started doing this because the school district was introducing these types of STEAM kits and programs through the school district and through the library there. We wanted to make sure that we had them, that when the kids went home after school, there were opportunities to see and use them through the library as well.
Do we have any plans on buying more?
I think so. I think we're looking at some grant money and things to do that, but yeah, they're popular. And then following are just, obviously with it being quarterly, you have all the statistics this time, so just wanted to update you on where we are with usage in the different areas through the library, all the way through to page 88. On page 89, the Friends have come back, and they were off for a few months. A lot of them go down, they're snowbirds. So they did have an April meeting. The agenda is in there, along with their November minutes, because they didn't approve until they were back. So their November minutes, and then their budget information is also provided for you. On page 96 and 97, 98, 99, this is information from the Novi Historical Commission and their February meeting that they held. It also includes their budget, which was approved, and that is on page 99. And then following from there, page 100, 101, and 102, these are actually two articles. One, Service with a Purpose, which is our Feed the Need program that happens through the city. This is a partnership with the Novi Rotary, the school district, and the library is also a small partner in being involved in this. And then on page 102, an article about our summer reading. As you can see, the theme of Build a Better World, and when we'll be kicking that off. So we're actually doing an early start on our summer reading this year. Usually we don't start until the kids are out of school, but we've moved that up to mid-May, which is May 15th. And we're hoping that we give a soft start to it because we're visiting the schools. And so if we're in the schools and we're talking about it, they can come into the library and already register. They don't have to wait until school's out. So we're hoping to get that, that excitement building right away and earlier than we have in the past. And then following is on page 103, that's an article. This was actually written by someone who's affiliated with Fox Run. But it talks about the partnership with the library and Fox Run and what we've been doing. And then on page 104, this was an article leading up to the Nell Duke author presentation that we talked about earlier. And then following on page 105, we do have a program that I just wanted to promote, which is a book discussion for business leaders. And this will be held in 3 dates on a Monday morning. we have a facilitator and a book that will be promoted, and then also talking about the secrets of customer loyalty on page 105. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Who's Gladys?
It's actually a character in the book they refer to as a customer. Yes.
I had a question about our self-check percentage.
Sure.
It doesn't seem to be fluctuating much over the last year, and I know we have a goal to get it to 60%. I'm not sure that's really all that critical. I'm glad we have the goal.
Sure.
I'm just wondering, what's your sense of how that's going, how critical it is?
Sure.
Just kind of everything
Well,
around that.
I honestly, I'm not too worried about it. We've had some board members in the past that it has been on their radar in the past, but we've held steady at that number almost since we opened the building. What that means, though, is 56%, that's over half of the people who use the library are using self-checkout. I think that's amazing that they're independently using the library in that way. So I think that's great. I do have Mary Ann and her staff. I had asked her, knowing that the goal was 60%, if her staff could work towards promoting a little more with the patrons that come into the library, interact with them a little more to see if they have ever used the equipment and if they'd like a tutorial on how to use it to make it easier, and if they want to learn that comfort level for using it, and they've been doing that. Still hasn't really changed the numbers, though. So it's a fair question, but I'm not too worried about it, to be quite honest.
When I was at the welcome desk, when we used to spend a Monday night there, I don't know what the percentage would be, but a fairly high percentage of the people that came to the desk could not have gone to self-checkout because it was an issue, a question, a problem, something.
Right.
I don't know if that's 30% or 50%, but it was a significant amount of that traffic had to be dealt with face-to-face.
Yes.
So I don't think you could ever move that, or not easily anyway.
I think the only way you could, at this point, because we've seen that number plateau and we've seen it kind of stay, would be to, and I'm not in favor of this, I'll be honest, would be, and some libraries have done this, where they've pulled the staff away completely to drive up that number. I don't think that's good customer service, to be quite honest.
The only thing I might suggest if we wanted to drive it up was more signage or more significant signage pointing people to that, as opposed, because I'm sure there are people that walk by it and don't even think about it. But no, I would not want to take away the face-to-face.
Right, me too. And my sense too is, a lot of retail, and I do consider us a form of retail, grocery stores and stuff, they've gone to that. People are comfortable with it. So those who want to be independent users will use it. We've given them the opportunity to do that, but we haven't secluded them either from when they need that face-to-face and they need to interact with a staff person, we're there for them.
I think right now there's a nice balance because there's seldom a lineup to talk to the people at the desk, so that it's an invitation to talk to people if they need to, because so many people are using the checkout, particularly the kids.
Right. That's a great observation. I do agree.
Very good. Julie, anything at this point for the stuff she just covered?
On a personal note, I would like to thank you for your continuing engagement at Fox Run, and you're going to be there this next Thursday.
Yep, we'll be there May and June.
We have always new people kind of coming into the community, so it's great that you're there. So
We'll be
thank you.
ready. I have some staff that will be available to do new library cards and renew cards to make it easier. And we did change our renewal on Fox Run
To 2 years? Oh, terrific. That's great, thank you.
We were happy to do that.
I won't see you because I'll be out of town.
Okay,
so.
well, all right. Well, maybe in June when we're there. But, no, we really do appreciate, Fox Run has been a wonderful partner for us. In book discussions we've held with them, as well as them allowing us to come over and promote the library.
There are 1,100 people there, so.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion, do you think once a year we should have a meeting in Fox Run, this meeting?
Well, you'd be certainly welcome, we could work that out.
We could.
We'd love to have
We might even
groups
have an
meet.
audience.
I think that's a great idea, and actually, November, because we move it and stuff, maybe that's I'd be happy to look into it.
That'd be great. The, setting up the video and live feed will be a problem.
But I think, one time to do it and make it available in that area, I think would be great. I think that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, and we'd be
I'll keep
delighted
you
to have
posted.
Very good.
Delighted.
All right, moving on to the committee reports. Trustee Mishner is not here, but Trustee Picard, do you have something to say about your policy committee?
Well, we met this week. We had a hard time getting all of us to be able to get together. And at that point, we went through policy by policy by policy that had been worked on by the staff. A lot of work had gone on with the staff. We raised about 5 or 6 questions that came up, and Julie was going to, check with the lawyer on some of them and move through. And so what you have today in front of you is the draft of the materials that we had looked at. And there's some brand-new policies in here, and you can see there were like minor issues throughout. Instead of saying the Novi Public Library, we just referred to it as the library, and that's kind of a consistent cleanup that went through. There were lessons learned on some of these public policies that have now been incorporated, and the section that constantly is referring is behavior, and what do we do about it? And then the new policy that is put in is the whole one on, I can find this here, on campaigning, petitioning, interviewing, and similar activities around the library. So that is a brand new policy. It's the last one in your book. And the policy before that one, you see many changes connected and a lot of deletions in some of these public policies, because we've learned that we don't always have to say you can't do this, you can't do that pretty soon it works out.
And some of it was procedure, which didn't need to be part of the policy. It is already something we already do. It's the policy itself that you would need. These are public policies, so this would be anything related to a patron in some way. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. And if I could take a moment, I'd like to thank, I had a wonderful team, Marcia Dominic, Barb Rakowski, April Stevenson, Bill Bebenek, Lindsay Fricke, Eva Sabolchik, and Kathleen Alberga from the library, all different departments that sat with me, I believe about 5 different meetings to, one they reviewed on their own, and then we sat down and had conversations and had discussions about these policies and changes and options and suggestions. So what you have, you see strikeouts, you see new language, you see all kinds of suggestions for you to mull over and to review. I would like to offer you the opportunity, because it's probably, you'll read through it once or twice, and then, I don't want to wait too long. So what I was hoping is that we could have a conversation as part of our goal setting next Saturday on the 6th of May. If you have any comments or questions relating to this, this will give me time then to look into anything if there's any concerns, and then I would bring it back in May. That would be really the first time you look at it, and then I can even bring it back in June. There's no rush. I want you to feel comfortable with all of these policies, and then we can move forward from there.
For an example, we had a discussion that public policy P9 on food, you don't need to look for it. The whole question with food allergies and so on, what happens, and you have some people with so the whole question now is persons with food allergy are responsible for monitoring food served themselves, and that we can't be responsible. But there is a whole section that has been added because of current needs that have arisen. So.
It also alludes to the cafe as well, which we really hadn't had any information about. So people understand that the cafe is separate from the library, and if there were to be any issues, it would be falling on the cafe and their liability, and the library doesn't hold that responsibility. So I look forward to you reviewing this for a little bit, and then we'll definitely take some time on that Saturday to talk a little bit if you'd like.
Good.
Yep. No rush, please know that.
Did you
This is
want
a
to
lot.
talk a little bit about the fact that schedule of loans fees is not a
Oh,
policy?
That
and
is
it's
just
for
informational for you, yes,
And why it's
absolutely.
not a policy?
And the reason it's not is because those prices and stuff, it always depends on, how we can get it in bulk and what we might be charging someone. Those prices can change, and they can change monthly sometimes. I wouldn't want to be bringing this schedule to you all the time. So we've left it as a procedure. We refer to it because it is a large amount of information that we allude to in the policies throughout the book, but it is something that we make the changes in-house, and it doesn't come back to you all the time.
And another theme besides taking out Novi Public and just leaving the library frequently on all these pages is that the whole sense of administration, it doesn't necessarily mean that the library director has to do everything, that they have broadened the expanse of management and administration to be available on things without naming the titles all the way through.
Right.
That's another theme,
It
I
is.
think.
So, these had not been truly, you've seen policies, I've brought them to you over the years, when there's been a need, but we hadn't had a really good look over of them since 2010 when we opened the building, and a lot has changed. We've seen how the public uses the building, and, we've been able to see where there might be issues and not, and so this was a very good review of the whole entire policy manual.
And one thing that Julie did add based on our discussion is that there's a whole, C1 is on the collection and how a collection is formed. We had a big discussion about the fact that it's not a willy-nilly, that there are major American Library Association forms on that. So she has added the fact that all libraries are forums for information and therefore follow basic policies set forth. And so thank you for that.
You're welcome, absolutely. And I thank you and Trustee Mitchner for your time to sit down with me and allow me to share thoughts from the staff and to go over some of those new changes.
Good, thank you. Moving on, the HR committee. It looks like there's no action at this time.
Right, we are still, in fact, Marcia has been working on pulling the data from the state aid reports, finding data that is more comparable to our library. That does take time. There's lots of information that we're going through. Our goal is to have her completed by the end of May, and then I'll be able to interact with our HR committee to get going on that and for them to start looking at some of that data.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
when we were working on the proposal for the state officers, you just said the slate has been prepared and everything is okay, but it is not recorded on the TV. I think you have to name everybody there.
Oh, that's probably right.
Well, we can certainly do that. The slate that we voted on has Secretary Trustee Verma, Treasurer Trustee Augusta, Vice President Trustee Mishner, and President Trustee Messerneck.
Thank you.
Thank you for catching
Good point. Thank you.
That was my fault. Thank you.
Moving on to Finance Committee. Trustee Augusta.
I think we were trying to get together to get some information about
We were.
yes.
So we need to find a meeting time. If I can do that, I'll be happy to send out a few.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Good.
Yeah, because I do have some updates for you. Okay.
Events Marketing Fundraising Committee. Is there anything to discuss?
Well, I just want to thank Trustee Lawler and Trustee Augusta for attending the National Library proclamation that was presented at the City Council on April 10th. I appreciate your support in being there. Very nice proclamation that was received by Mayor Gatt and Council, an opportunity to talk about what we've been doing. And we love celebrating that time of year, so. And we did lots of celebrating, I can tell you. But thank you so much for your support and being there. We'll let you know on some more activities that are coming up. Actually, one of them, I can let you know that I believe I did fail to put in my calendar. Oh, no, I didn't. If you look at Spring Palooza community event, which is Friday, May 19th, if any of you are interested in joining myself and the communications coordinator, Christine Salvatore, we will be at the city, it's on page 4, we will be at the city for their Spring Palooza. This is in place of Fall for Novi, so they've moved the time frame. And we will have a table, we will have some activities. They've got a carnival theme, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. They're hoping to draw more families by having it on a Friday night instead of a Saturday. You know, soccer and things like that are still going on weekends, and I think they found that they weren't getting the attendance they hoped for, and so they're looking to maybe draw more by doing that. So if any of you are interested in doing that, let me know. To add to the events and marketing, I should let you know that Trustee Mitchner has asked that we will move forward with looking into polo shirts for the board members. So we are moving forward with that. I should have an opportunity to get your sizes and an opportunity for you to choose a color of a polo shirt, and that way we'll move forward with it with the Novi logo on it. It'll say Novi Public Library, and it'll say Board Trustee, so that you are recognized right from the shirt as to who you are. And we'll get moving on those. Okay? For events that will be coming up in the future.
Good. And speaking of Trustee Mitchner, would like to thank her for providing professional development activities for library staff, that she's done a couple of those. And so that was listed in activities in the back.
The Strategic Planning Committee, that has been completed and nothing more to discuss, I don't believe.
Absolutely.
We do have several things in the Building Landscape Committee. We'll start at the top there. The LED project. Julie, I know just recently there were some meetings scheduled. Maybe you could fill us in on what did and did not take place so far.
So at the last meeting, the board had asked for a few more quotes in terms of the bid specifications and that work being done. I did reach out to the city, and I did get a second company. I have received just today some information that the one company wasn't interested. They didn't feel that they were close enough to the scope we needed, but they gave me another company to reach out to. So I'm still doing that. I still only have the one quote that was originally presented to you, but working on additional.
And just to summarize, what we're talking about is to get a quote to have someone put together the technical information we need for an
The bid
RFP to then go to a contractor to get the LED work done.
Correct.
I guess I would say at some point soon, if we're not able to get other bids from other people, I'm going to recommend that we either make a decision to
Right.
spend the money, even though it was more, or not to spend it and go the other direction just to get this thing.
Yeah, what was that? bid?
$7,500.
So it's 5,500. Yeah, I agree, because
Yeah,
we don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish here.
Exactly.
I know,
We
And
probably
pushing
would
this
have
out.
saved that money
right.
already just in the savings from the utilities, so.
So I have to tell you, it has been difficult to get information and get a response back. You know, I share, then they need to see our specs, and they need to see our plans of the building. So then we share that, they come pick it up, and then they formulate. And then the email today was, I'm sorry, we're just not comfortable, but here is a company that you might want to reach out to, which I did, so I have a call. If I can get a second bid, I'd like to do that and move forward. If I don't, I'll be coming back to you saying, hey, here's where we are, and
Do we want to wait one more meeting to make that decision? That's a question I raise right now,
I
because
think that's a good question.
We have the money in the budget, it would just be from a different fund, and we wouldn't use that money.
Correct.
Because it's not increasing the budget. There was a line item that we would not use this year for that specific amount. It would just be used in a different manner.
right, the money is there.
The money is there.
I really support that. Let's not be penny wise and pound foolish. This is a huge, huge investment for the future.
And there's
that
already going to be a
has to be
lot of
done
time I'll
well.
need to spend on just getting the bid
Yes.
specs and
Right.
everything
Yes.
together. So-
And, the company that we have, even though it's higher than what we thought, is recommended by the city.
It was.
So they have a reputation with us right now. I think that's a positive thing versus going to somebody else. There's a lot of unknowns there.
Support that.
We can put this to a vote, but before we do that, I guess I would say, let's discuss it. Does anyone want to wait to try to get a second bid and compare those two before we move forward?
I would like to ask Julie what her preference is.
Well, I'm just, it's a long process and we've still got a long way to go. So I felt confident with the initial meeting I had with the company, especially since it was recommended by the city. I do know that you were sticker shocked when I brought you that last month, but I feel the same way that, we could be moving forward and already planning, so. I wouldn't mind moving forward myself.
Jeff, do you wish to make a proposal?
It would be helpful if you did approval on this. I would appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I'd like to put it to a
Yes.
vote if someone wants.
No, I do want, so, yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the, I guess the original proposal for the spec bid work.
At
bid work
$7,500.
At $7,500.
Support.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Great, thank you so much.
Actually, when they come, do they ask for the as-built drawing of the building?
And we've given them all the information.
As-built drawing, they take it. So then you don't have an as-built drawing at your.
Right, they're in their hands, so we want them back and we,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, why not, they should make a copy of that?
Well, they can. That's up to them to do. I'm not sure if they are or not.
Yeah, because you have to have one, otherwise you will lose that.
Right. And we only have the one. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm on them to get them back and not keep them out of the building too long.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Well, I'm glad we addressed that,
Yes.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Very well. Just on a couple other things, as you see there, we have a new landscaping lawn company. We hope that it will go a little smoother this year than it did last year. It's kind of early to tell that, but at least, Julie, you seem so far to be okay
Yes,
with them?
and they were out today. We've watched them. They have been dealing with some rain, so that has made them work different days than they originally expected, which is not a problem. And obviously, we're very early on into the season. If I could make one notation, I just want to make sure that people, I have the wrong spelling of the company. I spelled it EXPERT for expert. It's actually XPERT, just so that there's, and that's my typo, but that is the correct spelling of their company is XPERT.
Oh, X the letter, not X.
Yes, correct. Not the correct spelling, but their unique spelling.
Gotcha.
Yes, so far it has been going well. They have the communication, we've been working with them.
What about communication with them and their workers regarding the bioswales? 'Cause
Wonderful.
That was one of the problems we had.
So wonderful question that you've asked. We met with them specifically, we walked them and showed them. The bioswale language is actually in the contract for them not to touch the bioswales, and we are working specifically with Creating Sustainable Landscapes, which is Drew Lathan and his company, to do our bioswales. So there has been lots of communication about that. Yes. In fact, there will be some signage that will go up in the next week that alerts their staff to not being in those areas and it being, we've had it before, but we wanted to put more in. But that'll be also going on.
And speaking of our bioswales expert, when we left them last fall, or at least when I did, we had talked about some things that we needed to redo. Shall I assume that we're going to be addressing that with them? And that we'll get the building committee together?
And Well, we're good so far. He's been out and weeding, and he's taken on the actual end caps that lead into the
Okay.
bioswale. That was all part of his new bid that he gave us, and that was
Okay.
good and no issues with. And we've already had our conversations, at least for spring. He's actually already been out and has started weeding.
Oh, good.
So he, in fact, I spoke with him today. Everything looks good. One of the things that he requested, which I've asked my facilities department to do, is the one bioswale that is south of the parking lot, it gets a lot of foot traffic from the students walking through it. So we don't want that to be damaged in any way. We also don't want the kids in there if he's doing some chemical cleanup.
Right.
So we're going to be roping it off for a while so that at least there's something there to deter the kids from walking through there. We're not always going to stop them, but hopefully it'll help. And that was a recommendation by him today.
Excuse me, and could you advise this contractor to park in the rear of the parking lot, not in the front? Because front is always for our patrons to use that, because he takes about 10 of those parking spaces.
Did you notice that today?
No, last time when they were there, about almost 2 weeks ago.
Well, that actually wasn't our crew. That was actually the city's new crew, and I had a
No,
conversation.
expert, you said expert company.
Was it expert?
Yeah.
Oh, it was?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then I will
Because they
definitely.
had a big truck, then in the back, then they are coming back, because here our patrons are also driving. They
Gotcha.
should be parking in the rear end.
Yes, I will do that.
One last item that we need to discuss is the work that needs to be done on the parking lot. Julie has some good news in that the bid for that came in lower than expected.
Yes.
So pricing looks good. There's an issue that we need to, again, take a vote on and decide, and that has to do with when we do this. Julie, you want to explain it?
Sure. I had the opportunity to meet this morning with the actual vendor. We have not signed our contract yet. I wanted to have conversations first, and it had to deal with the time frame. I had asked the company if there was an opportunity to utilize the Memorial Weekend, knowing that we are closed. Initially, they had written back saying they couldn't because their business was closed as well. However, this morning when we met, the company is willing to do the work on Saturday, Sunday, and if they need Monday, of that holiday weekend. We are open on Saturday. I'm actually looking for the board tonight to approve a closure of Saturday, May 27th, so that we can actually earmark that particular weekend for the parking lot to be completely done without any disruption. We close the building that day. We don't have access to the building. We close off the parking lots. We get everything seal coated, crack sealed, and done and striped, and there will be no interruption. And that's obviously based on weather, and if the weather goes well. The second option, if they have to deal with some weather, would be potentially to work that Sunday. If Saturday's raining and they can't, hopefully the weather might be better Sunday, Monday, they still have that window. The third option, then they will deal with us being open and working with us in very early June to do the work, but it will be with a lot of traffic. I think this is ideal if we can close on that Saturday and have the work completed.
Is there any extra charge for doing it?
There is
on
no
a
extra
weekend?
charge, no extra charge at all. I also, just to let you know, the company I checked references, their bid was a low bid, which was great. In addition to that, their experiences have been with a number of public libraries that I reached out to for references, and I got a lot of very positive responses on their work and working with libraries. So they're used to the traffic and the things that happen. When he came out to the building today, he said to me, he goes, "I've never seen a library this busy. I'm actually shocked." And that's what made him, because they had come out prior to our meeting to see the building in use. And that's why he went back to his boss and said, if we could close and we could use that weekend, it would be ideal for them and for us to have no interruption and no one in their way.
Usually, normally the business, where the businesses parking lots are there, contractor come in the evening. They do during the night time, the sealing as well as the striping of the spaces. Just to close the library for sealing, I don't think, I will not vote for that. There are two ideas. Either they should do that in the nighttime, If we want to pay a little bit more, fine. Or if we can ask our people, patrons, to park on the school side, if for
It's
one
still
day.
have to walk through it.
Yeah. At the same time, you're dealing with them walking through in the,
Walking where?
walking in having, sidewalks and things and areas for them to walk through to have access to the building. So, I mean, we can do it.
But that's why I'm saying, the business people, wherever, they don't want to close their business because they want to get it done in the nighttime. And normally they do. They have a crew for the nighttime. Please ask her. And if it little bit costs more, I think that will be better than closing the library for a day.
I think the Saturday before Memorial Day is going to be a light day anyways. You have a lot of people out of town, picnics, family events. I truly don't believe the library is on the foremost front of people's thought process. So I think people would completely understand if we were closed that Saturday.
I think the one concern, though, that weekend, though, depending on weather, and you're talking about pushing it into that Monday, is the parade. There's a lot of people.
We've had that conversation, they know about the parade.
Okay.
So, if it ends up where weather does become an issue, we're gonna end up dealing with us being open and them handling the project in a different way anyways.
Okay.
So, and that would mean sitting down again and then figuring out the best plan for that, which would happen not that following week, but the week after, based on their timeline, and to set up in a whole different way of doing the parking lot. They would do it in sections, and it would actually go over a 4-day period in order to get it all completed.
But you have to, I think, I agree with trustee Augusta. That's probably a low count day. Do you have any historical data?
I can tell you that I did look up the numbers, and the Saturday before, we averaged 700 people in the building that day, so it's half, a little more than half.
Okay.
So 1,200 is what we normally see. It was about 700 that used the building on that Saturday.
And you have sufficient time to notify people.
I do, and here's why, because our e-newsletter and everything goes out May 1st, which is this Monday. We would start that communication now. It also allows us to make sure our back date and materials being returned, those dates get factored in, and being able to communicate that the drive-through would not be available that weekend. People can go to other libraries if they want to drop off, or they could wait until coming back.
And you would offer a waiver on overdue?
We would be working, yes, to deal with that if that came about.
But you're not going to make due dates during those time periods?
No, we wouldn't.
Yeah, so there wouldn't be, yeah.
There would be no
that's
due
true.
dates at the
Yes.
time. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
If it's a light day, is there a way even just to do half the parking lot and complete it the night? How does that process work?
I didn't ask, I didn't, go to that. I could definitely ask for that as an option, if they wanted to deal with it. I was just thinking, nobody in their way, nobody potentially walking into the tar and having any issues and it being sprayed and, because it's very messy. He did
Yeah.
share that. It's a
But
very, very
typically,
messy.
going back to businesses,
Yes.
a lot of businesses will, they'll
Right.
do it in the day, but
You're
they'll
absolutely
do part of it
Yeah.
and block it off
And that's how they
partition it.
had it planned out until when he came to me, that seemed like the best, in a perfect world. You have no foot traffic, no vehicular traffic, you have nothing if you can just allow them to crack seal it all, stripe it, and we open on Tuesday. So that's why I wanted to bring that option to you.
Do you have a feel from him as to, weather permitting, how many hours of work it is that they're doing?
Well, it would take them Saturday and Sunday, and they'd be striping Sunday evening by the time, there's like a 12-hour drive period and stuff that he shared.
So if they were to do it after we closed at 8 o'clock at night, it would be a week's worth of nights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're suggesting 4 days of us being open for the latter suggestion and process.
The only concern I have is, what if it is inclement weather and we
That's right.
close the library for no reason? then?
Right.
Right.
I
And,
understand.
because we can't
Right,
go back and turn that around at that
Right.
point, so that's the other concern.
yeah. I know, and I understand your thought on that.
Well, we probably should put this to a vote, so if we choose to close on Saturday, we can start that process. And if we choose not to close on Saturday, we can start a different process.
Right. Yeah.
It's really hard because weather is
I
the
know.
key factor.
Right. I'm going to expect all of you to pray. I know I will be. But you're right, weather is a factor.
Right.
And you know what, we could end up with, I know this, we could end up with rain on, that weekend, we could end up on the rain. Here's where we're at though. We've got to get this done by the end of June, but we really have to have this done really before summer reading starts, which is the middle of June, because there's lots of traffic. And then the wedding that is happening at the library, we want to make sure that doesn't also interfere with some of that. So when I didn't think they'd be able to do the work in May, knowing that the bids and everything got finalized, but when they offered the May opportunity, that's why I wanted to bring it.
The fact that they're willing to work on Memorial Weekend,
know.
Sunday and Monday, to me says,
Says they got a lot of work to do.
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right. And this company have received, it's also recommended by the city?
It was not recommended by the city, but based on the references that I received, there were a lot of libraries that have worked with it. This was a bid process, so anyone could have provided a bid.
Did they say how inclement the weather has to be before they won't work?
Rain.
In other words, if there's just a little drizzle, can they work, or it takes a
I didn't get that information to know. I'm sorry.
The preliminary work, they could work through whether it's the actual tarring and,
Because you don't want it to wash away.
yes.
So how do we feel about that Saturday? Anybody feel anything to make a proposal one way or another?
Jeff, go for it.
I don't know where I stand yet.
I know.
What's the problem? Can we come back to this?
Well, I could read my public
Yeah.
comment section.
You have
Read
5
that.
minutes.
Let's think about it.
Read really slow.
All right, this
Table
give you
it for a
another 40
moment.
seconds. In order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, I'll read slowly, the library board requests that speakers respect the 5-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session, therefore, library board members will not respond to questions. It is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees. And then, if we move on to board actions, the first one there is what we're talking about, approval of a potential closing to do the parking lot ceiling.
It's really just a one-day closing, right?
It is, it's just Saturday, it's a one
Because
day.
we're already closed.
Correct,
Sunday.
we're closed on Sunday and Monday.
Did that give you time to think, Jeff?
The weather's really the big.
It
variable
is.
for me. That's to close it
Close
and
it,
not
yes,
have
that's right.
anything done. And I know it's hard to predict. I mean, these things are gonna be a challenge no matter what.
Yeah,
Is there any possibility that we could close at, say, 5, or if we close at 6? When do we close on Saturdays?
6 o'clock.
So we close already at 6. And so you could have an evening on that Saturday evening, but this company coming in on Sunday and Monday may choose day work rather than the night work, and I don't want to jeopardize the bid because we are,
And I wasn't, in the conversation I had today, there wasn't a conversation of them doing work at night. So with you bringing that up, trustee Verma, that had not been a conversation. It was them doing the work through the day.
I still feel that we should ask them, because the business people do that, because supposing we close the library on Saturday,
and it rains.
and then it rains, we can, but if it is nighttime, they can do any time, they can do, come back and do that. And keep on closing our library for the patron, I don't like that, keep on closing that.
I just think what they were offering was an opportunity for it to be during the day because they were normally not even working with their employees that weekend. They were actually, their business was closed Saturday through Monday.
They were doing something to help us. So
Right.
that our patrons would be least
Right.
inconvenienced.
Correct, you are correct.
Otherwise, it's 4 days of
Exactly.
inconvenience, parking, timing. Timing for us is huge, like you said. It needs to be done before summer reading program, before the wedding,
Right.
before our budget ends. So there's all of our time factors that are kind of,
Can you clarify the why? I mean, is it purely a budget perspective? It has to be done in this fiscal year? Is that the reason
The
why?
money's allocated
Okay.
specifically, yes.
But I mean, that could be reallocated, right?
If you wanted to do that and we hold off the
If for some
project
reason.
and,
it just,
The
yeah.
decision's gonna have to be made sometime.
I know.
You can't
Right,
kick the can
right.
too far.
If you wanted to hold off and do it later in the year, this would be the time, I mean,
Well, I'm
that's
just
the
curious
time
on
to
why
have
the
that
June-
Right.
The June deadline was, and
If you'd
with
rather
everything
do it
going
in
on.
August, but then what we need to do, which that's an option, that you brought up, is we will have to make sure that that money then moves over. It's 268 money. It would have to move over and be earmarked, and we'd make it, that job would get done then in the
Well, would we not run into the same issue?
Well, you're always gonna
in
have
the
a weather.
fall?
I mean, yeah, we'll have to work it out somewhere. You're just not running into this.
I'm not sure, I don't think we can wait till our next meeting to make a decision and still
Correct.
do it.
Right.
So let's make a motion right now, and then let's put it to vote, and it could get voted down.
I'm looking into this, September 2nd, library
just
closed,
looking at
September
that, too.
3, library closed, September 4th, library closed.
The Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend,
Why not
Labor
we
Day
should
weekend.
do those, that time?
because it's Labor Day
because that's
weekend.
next year's budget.
Yeah, but we are talking about moving the budget for the next year.
But again,
Same.
you're gonna, well, they work that weekend,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
don't-
if
I-
they can work on this
Well-
holiday, Memorial Day, they can work in that time also, we can ask them.
But Labor Day is related to labor being off.
Yeah, labor is
Yeah.
labor, yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah.
problem is that, yeah, they could come back and then give us a higher bid to do it on that holiday weekend.
Then I think evening is the best one I am talking. No problem with the weather and other thing. We can ask them, they will ask some extra money for that. But I think any time they can come and do that.
Yeah, like I said, the information provided in terms of their scope of work wasn't to do it in the evening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we ask them, plus minus whatever money they will ask, how much money they will ask, they do that.
How about another option? How about we swap the day, Memorial Day and Labor Day? We're closed 3 days over Labor Day, why don't we be open that Saturday?
They're just saying, we don't know.
Oh.
Companies with Labor Day, they
No,
might
no,
not.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is to make a compromise here. He's concerned about closing a day on Memorial Day. How about we stay open a day on Labor Day and close
hear ya.
one extra day on Labor Day?
The only thing is, I can tell you there, the usage of the library is very low.
Worse than
Yes,
Yes.
yes, so you're not,
because school is in
because it's
session
the
and
last
stuff like
weekend,
that.
and we've looked at those numbers, those were significantly lower. So
But that is a compromise.
it is,
But it seems to me the work needs to be done. It's budgeted for this year. We have a bid that says that they will come in and work on 2 days in which the library is closed anyway. We want to have it done before the June activities. And so, the weather, we don't know about the weather. And so in order to prepare with this bid and with the dollars that we have and the timeline, that closing, that one day is probably, that Saturday is probably the way we're going to have to go, in order to get that done. So I'm just kind of like talking about
Right.
what it is that we want to do. So.
Could the work be completed on Sunday and Monday?
I don't think that was their,
No.
that wasn't what I think they wanted to do Saturday.
Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah.
and have Monday off.
That is what if he ran into weather, he was willing to move it, but,
It's the time for it to dry, and then
And-
they striping.
And you do have
And
that
you
parade
need to have that.
Monday morning
that's
too.
true, too,
That
yeah.
the
Yes.
streets blocked off, you have people walking around.
which I can tell you that they affirmed, they would do a lot of roping and stuff to keep people, but, and they will, so that there aren't people walking through there, but, yeah.
with my experience, it's very hard to educate an educated person. You put any type of roof there, they will walk there.
But they won't be.
They will walk there.
But they won't be bringing the tar into the library.
No, but they will not, but they will be doing to the city hall, they are coming. But I'm saying, Memorial Day, if you are roping, people will be walking on there.
But you'll have that at any time. I mean, regardless of the weekend. I mean,
What's also a factor is you won't have the teenagers, and there's some other things where we won't have to deal with that if we were.
Yeah,
closed.
kids
I mean,
are
there's
home.
other things, yeah.
Kids are
No,
out.
we are talking about, I still feel, Mr. President, that we should ask the contractor if he wants to do it nighttime, how much extra? We should at least ask.
Okay, and I understand that. I'm not exactly sure how we
Well-
can word this, but if we worded a proposal that essentially gave the director, our direction being, check to see if we can do this without closing on Saturdays by doing it at nights, and if it's no more than a 20% surcharge or something, that would be our first preference. If that doesn't work, our second preference, we would approve the closing on Saturday.
can we do that with, I mean, if that wasn't part of the original bid package? Pay the contractor more? I mean, I don't know the legal,
I'd have to check,
tech,
honestly.
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
because it went out to a bid
I
pro.
think when you do a bid, I think it's.
Oh, okay,
We are
yeah.
changing the bid now,
Right,
But
specification.
then you
and
have to
that's-
send it out to everybody
have
to
to
Right,
rebid, is
that's,
what
we'd have to
I
rebid it
believe
out
you
so
would have to
people
do.
have the opportunity to do that.
That'd be
Yeah.
good.
I do think you're right.
Okay, well then take that, we'd be willing to pay extra for it. Our preference, number one, would be to have you work with them to be able to do it at night, with no extra cost. If that is not workable in the time frame we need it done, then we would approve Saturday.
I think that's a good way of looking, I mean,
Is that changing the bid, though?
No,
No, because there's no cost
there's
change.
no cost changes.
Yeah. I'd have to, so you're looking for me to find out if they will work evening
After 6.
after
Well,
6 PM, Saturday
yeah,
through Monday. And no additional cost.
And if the.
Barring weather, obviously.
Right.
And then if not, then we would do the Saturday closes. That would, yes.
So moved. I'll move that proposal.
I'll second it.
all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
I'm opposed to that.
Okay. It passed 5-1? 5-1.
Okay, so I will contact them right away tomorrow, and I will have an answer for you as to whether they will do that, and then I'll be able to let you know if we are doing the evening work and they've approved that, or if we are closing on Saturday in order to accommodate the work and then go from there.
Yeah, and I mean, it probably doesn't make sense to close any earlier to give them a couple more hours. If that were to swing the decision, if they said, gee, if we could start at 3 instead of 6 or something like that, maybe we could still be open for a few hours. I personally
Would you
would
like
leave
that
to your-
decision left up to me, and
I
that way
would
I
leave
can
that
see
to your
that? And then,
discretion, yes.
so if they said to me, you know what, we could hold off and we could start at noon, so we'd only open from 10 until noon?
I don't know if it makes sense to bring people in for 2 hours.
Right.
If you brought them in for 5 hours, I would leave that up to you.
Yes.
You know, if he says,
When we
gee,
are closing on Saturday, the staff will be working inside.
No.
Only patrons are not coming.
No.
No.
No, I wouldn't have the staff working at all.
The staff is also given the,
There's,
That's too much.
well, there's really no point to having
Yeah, 'cause
any
there's
staff
no-
come in.
There's no,
That's too
no
much.
But
patron.
that's a cost saving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Cost
cost
saving
saving
for
too.
what?
We're not paying the employees, the part-time workers, right?
Well,
Is that or no?
well, they're already scheduled, so there really isn't a change in
There's no
that.
change.
Yeah.
There's no cost saving in that.
We would move people, because we need them actually on Tuesday to work, to deal with all of the closing and getting us back up and running. So
It'll all
we have found in the
balance out.
past that it's not much of a change, much of a cost
So are you pretty clear with what we're asking, Julie?
So I would be asking the company to work in the evening after 6 PM on Saturday through Monday at no additional cost. Or, that's your motion right there, was just for that, or close on Saturday. I think you need to do a amendment to
Motion.
your, yeah,
If there is to be a 3 o'clock.
correct.
To give, so we would move that the library director has discretion in the discussion with the company to negotiate between 3 and 6 on some options that might work. Is there a second for that amendment?
I second
that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm still opposed.
Passed. All right, we have one last topic to discuss, and that is approval of the 269 contributed library fund. You'll find that on page 41, I believe. Either Melissa or Julie, if you'd like to discuss that.
Pretty cut and dry, to be quite honest. I kept it very simple in terms of my proposal for what would be revenue coming in. The numbers that were provided were from the city up above in terms of interest on investments and unrealized. In fact, I took that information from the budget documents that you saw already in the packet. And then the only thing I factored in as an expenditure, there were a couple things, but the major expenditure is that $39,965 for the automated lending library Dropbox. I do want to point out to you that we have brought in a lot of sponsorship money this year in the 269. I know there's always a concern of, are we bringing in donations? Are we doing anything? Close to $10,000 has come in this year in sponsorship money. So it is happening, for certain programs, certain events and things like that. And I do think that's great that that kind of money is coming in. But it's pretty simple.
How come the Raising a Reader and Novi sponsors went from, those are donations. Okay, never
Yes.
mind. I was reading it incorrectly, sorry.
Yep, those are
Cancel
donations.
that.
So I brought it down because actually, a big, large cost last year in this budget was the printing of materials and things, and we did receive some sponsorship money that went towards it. We aren't at a point where we'll probably have to do any printing for a while, probably we're good for another year. So a lot of that expense won't be there this year.
So we're looking at revenues of 48,500 with expenditures of 48,465. So really, it's a wash. It's a
Yeah.
wash, yep. But it's just finally establishing a strong budget, which we've never truly had.
And I apologize not bringing this earlier, but the bigger budget at 268 really does
Right.
take over my entire world.
Well-
And this little one gets kind of stuck. And then I do want to let you know that the city asked me if I would kind of get on the stick to have this available for you. I will try to have this for you during budget time so that you're approving both of them at one time.
Well, I think the good news with this is that again, it's a wash. If we're able to expand via this lending library facility and to do it with essentially no impact on the fund balance in 269, I think that's a major step. So assuming we're able to hold to this, I think it's good.
Where did the number for the interest on investments come from?
The city gave those to me, so they provided me with those figures.
Yeah, you're going to be earning certainly a little more in the years to come than the past couple of years. Certainly should anyway. Is there a proposal to approve?
A motion to approve Fund 269 budget for 2017, 2018. Do I need to read the numbers? Okay.
No.
Second it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed unanimously. I believe that brings us down to 16, which says adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Good meeting.
everyone. Great meeting.